It's time for the Las Vegas Sportsline. Brought to you by the Westgate Las Vegas, home of the world's largest race and sportsbook and the Super Contest.
Money won is twice as sweet as money earned.
It is
presented by WagerTalk.com.
Excuse me, sorry. It is the Tuesday Superbook USA edition of the Las Vegas Sportsline. It is brought to you by the Westgate and Superbook USA. Jeff Sherman will join us a little bit. I'm Dave Cokin. Ralph Michaels is here. Ari Platinum is producing the show. We're watching the Cubs and Angels play error ball down in Arizona. The defense has not been good in this game as the Angels are defeating the Cubs 8-2. But at least the Los Angeles area team is providing some optimism today. Boy, if you watched the Lakers last night, well, I guess you could say the Clippers were okay, but my goodness, I don't even know if there's a price. I didn't check this morning to see what the adjusted odds are. We'll find out from Jeff Sherman, but Lakers are not going to make the playoffs.
You're 5.5 back.
Well, yeah, they're done.
Yeah, with 13 games, you need to sweep, and the other team needs to go under 500.
And they're
not going to sweep.
There's no indication that that's going to happen.
Yeah, agree.
Okay, so no, look, and the Lakers under win total is locked in. So, what happened? I mean, they weren't supposed to be this bad. I personally, I think this might have been a borderline playoff team, but what they did to the locker room and the chemistry in the team with all the talk about trading almost everybody at the deadline, I think it just destroyed any chemistry this team had. And they look like they just can't wait for the season to end.
Well, you had all those parts that were supposed to go together with LeBron and Rondo. Well, LeBron scores 27, Rondo scores 24, and no one else does anything.
No, if LeBron scored 27, I didn't check the box score, but how many did he give up? Because he's just not playing.
Minus 11.
That's not good.
Yeah. You're leading the team in minuses. That's not a good sign.
He has not had a good season. And granted, some of it's the injuries and some of it's playing with a bunch of new players. But
did they make the wrong decision coming here?
Even the most ardent LeBron fan has to look at this and wonder if this is, the tip of the iceberg as far as LeBron starting to age and whether he's been immensely successful wherever he's been. I mean, 8 straight NBA Finals is remarkable. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah. But it does end for everybody at some point, and I'm just not. Believe me, I'm not sitting here saying, "Well, that's it, it's over."
No, because he's going to talk someone into coming.
Yeah,
but if he doesn't get that A guy, then we're going to go through this again next year.
Well, and here's the thing: I think at this point, it's really got to be. It actually almost has to be somebody who is
Durant,
even above LeBron at this point.
Durant, AD.
Yeah. I don't think.
Because Rondo can't do what he does very much.
And he's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Because
LeBron's
Rondo
not playing defense, so you're going to have a high-scoring team that can outscore opponents. You're going to, and you can't get to Golden State's level, so you can't get to Houston's level either.
No, and just so I want to make it clear, I don't want anybody to misconstrue this and say, oh, Cokin's saying LeBron's all done. No, but I think the peak LeBron is done. He can still be one of the great players in the league. But I don't think he's going to be the best player in the league ever again.
First year with the Cavs, with nobody, LeBron got him to the finals.
Yeah.
That can't happen anymore. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying
with 4 nobodies around him, he can't get a team to the finals.
I don't think he's ever going to be the best player in the league again.
Agreed.
He's still going to be an all-star. That'll probably continue for the next few years. I don't think he's going to be one of these guys who completely falls off. He's still going to be a great player.
So if you're starting a team for next year, LeBron's not in your top 1 or 2.
No.
Greek Freak 1?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Agreed.
Yeah. And by a margin at this point. Okay. Let's talk about
Virginia. Make a 3, make a 3, make a 3.
Stay in the NBA for a second. I mean, is it just one of those nights where you just write it off and it's like, okay? I mean, they're thinking it's just a nothing game at this point, and we're going to have a few of these from the Bucks down the stretch. I mean, they lost to the Suns
for a second time.
I know.
And they were talking about losing to the Suns prior, and you have a 18-point lead in the game.
That's stunning.
Yeah, I didn't watch the game, but I'm looking and I don't understand how they can lose having that lead. You talked about wanting to limit the minutes of Antetokounmpo to 24. You played him 34, so you obviously played him to try to win the game. I don't understand.
That's a nice win for the Suns. I mean, that's an NBA. That's the thing. The Suns are looking at a few games like this as their playoff games because they're not going to be in the real playoffs. So, beating Milwaukee's a really big deal to them. And now they've done it twice. And the Jazz, this is a critical loss for Utah, isn't it? They lose outright at home to the Pelicans. You can't do that if you're trying to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they go into Denver. They dominate Denver on the road.
Weird.
And then they do this. So, I can understand. This is like the normal NBA you get in December, where guys just don't care before the holidays and you get weird scores. But to have these weird scores happen now where teams are making playoff pushes and starting to get their 7 or 8 playoff deep ready to play, just baffling.
Coach Bennett wants to bottle last night and lock that formula in because that Virginia team that we saw at Syracuse last night,
wow.
That team would win the national championship. No, I mean, this was an unbelievable shooting exhibition by the Cavaliers.
18 three-pointers, the most that Syracuse has ever given up in the history of the school.
And they were, I don't know what they finished, but they were 18 for 24 before the end of the bench.
27-3 run.
Amazing.
Yeah,
18 for 24 on threes.
Yeah, well.
But I can I say this? I hate the three-point shot in college basketball.
Too short?
It's ridiculous. It's a joke. And if you want to know why game after game after game, you watch these guys and they cannot drive to the basket and make a layup.
Because they don't need to. They practice shooting threes from AAU on.
They can't make a layup. It's This is why I say, and I'm absolutely convinced I'm right on this, while the athletic abilities of today's basketball players far surpass any time frame that you want to talk about, they're not as good a player. They're just not as good. And the reason for it is that stupid three-point shot that has taken running offense out of the game. They just shoot threes or dunk. They can't. It's just absolutely amazing. You watch any college basketball game, I don't care what game you watch, and the number of blown layups on drives, they don't know how to finish. And that is, to me, a direct offshoot of the three-point shot, changing the way the game is played. And I don't think it's as good a watch as it used to be, and I don't think it ever will be again.
Dumping the ball into a low man and watch him do a turnaround from 4 feet is exciting to me now. I mean, it really is. You're fighting for position, and you get that. My beef is this, Dave, in college hoops. The stupid fouling at the end of the game.
It should be intentional.
After 13 fouls, you go to 3 foul shots.
Absolutely.
After 13, you go to 3.
100%.
You see these players, someone's going to get really hurt late in the game.
It's not that. It's boring.
Yeah.
It takes forever. I mean, I watched some
It's
game.
not the game at all.
What was the game I watched over the weekend? I can't remember what game it was. The last, and this wasn't that close a game. It was, like an 8 or 10 point spread. No, I'll tell you what game it was. No, it wasn't. It was close to that. It was the UConn-Memphis game. UConn-South Florida game on Sunday. The last 2 minutes of that game took almost a half an hour. They're going to the reviewing everything. There's this succession of foul shots. That sucks. Yeah, the end of the game in basketball is so inferior to the end game in any other sport.
If it was an automatic 3 points,
yes.
three for others, they wouldn't do. I was watching San Diego St. Mary's a couple weeks ago. San Diego was down by 17 against St. Mary's. A minute 50 to go. They fouled 5 times in a minute.
They're all intentional.
They got
fouls.
it to 13, and that's it. Yeah,
I go
down
further
17.
Than that. It's an intentional foul. You're not going for the ball. You're wrapping the guy up. That's an intentional foul. It should be foul shots in possession. Look, I know I'm not the only one who gets bored silly with the end of these college basketball games. I think they stink. Okay, let's go to the Tuesday. MJ Christensen 4 at 4.
1, 2, bring it to the 4.
Put them 4s up. Put the 4s up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sports Lines 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Unbelievable.
So some of the games might be a letdown as if you're watching them in terms of the way they finish. But going in, they're great games, at least. And this is a big game all of a sudden. Xavier and Butler, from out of nowhere, the Musketeers they're on the backside of it right now, but they're in the bubble conversation. This is some rally by this team.
Last place on Valentine's Day in the Big East, and now they're sitting third.
Oh, boy.
Granted, you have a brand new head coach who was an assistant last year who took over. We gave him crap and talked about, how the person that left was so good, but hats off to him. He turned it around. I could not play against Xavier right now. They're playing as good as anyone. I mean, they're playing Texas Tech's playing the best ball in college basketball. Xavier is playing close.
If Xavier wins this game, they're probably to like the first four out. They could be that close to a bubble or to getting in. They're definitely back on the bubble. I never thought that was going to be a possibility this year. To me, you got to look at the hot team in that game, which is Xavier. Here's a good matchup. It's not that big a game in terms of the overall picture because both teams are going to the NCAA tournament.
But it's huge.
But it's still a big
for
game.
The AC. Well, it's the double bye game.
Yes.
This is for that double bye seed, and they're tied right now. If whoever wins this game will have the double bye as long as they win their next game.
We're talking about the Virginia Tech-Florida State game down in Tallahassee. I don't think the Hokies have been quite the same team down the stretch. They did get a player hurt, Robinson, which has had an impact. But this is just my opinion. This is one of those games where I trust the Virginia Tech coaching staff more than I trust the Florida State coaching staff, and I got a feeling the Hokies will find a way to at least cover, if not get the outright. I didn't bet it, so I don't want anybody to take that as a strong opinion, but I lean the Virginia Tech way. How about you?
I lean the other way.
Okay.
I think... Virginia Tech, Virginia Tech is off the Duke win.
Right.
Got to have some letdown with that. You look at what Florida State's done. Florida State's only loss at home this year to Duke. They've protected their home court.
And they should have won that game.
Yeah. Trivia quiz for you. Last time Virginia Tech beat Florida State in Tallahassee?
1835.
They were in the Metro Conference.
Really?
1990.
That is. I was just
11 straight losses.
Wow.
So it's been a while since they took out a win down there.
The old Metro Conference. That was a good league, by the way. This is a big game. Purdue and Minnesota. It's a much
bubble
bigger, huge game for Minnesota. But, I go back to the game against Michigan. I think it was last week. And that was a really big game for Minnesota. They just couldn't figure out a way to get it done against the superior team. And that's what worries me tonight. I know the spot says Minnesota, but I just don't trust them.
This Purdue team now, they're one clear to win the Big Ten title. It means a lot to them. When you have Carson Edwards being able to score,
the
phenomenal. Guy never has an off night.
No,
he is just phenomenal. And, you are off an easy win against Illinois, an easy win against Ohio State. Your team hasn't been tested. You finish it off. I think the situation's great for Minnesota on the bubble, but I cannot play against Purdue.
All right, now here's an interesting game because of the situation. And, boy, this is a really tough one. I left it off my card. It's one of those games where, I should be playing Colorado State in this game because it's a great situation for Colorado State. Nico Bedved's team, they play hard. They don't have a lot of talent. They basically have three deep in terms of D1 starting caliber players. But he's done a magnificent coaching job with the team. They've got great energy. And, Utah State really has to guard against the letdown tonight because if they lose, it would basically undo, to some extent, the win against Nevada. And that was a crazy game on Saturday. So there is a letdown potential. To me, I didn't play it. But if I were going to play this, I would go first half Colorado State. I think Utah State could be more vulnerable early. I think as the game progresses, it's the talent, I think, eventually takes over, and they're not going to be bothered by altitude because they play in it themselves. So full game, I don't think I'd touch it. If you're going to want to make a play in this game, I think Rams plus the points first half.
No arguments. I made an argument for both teams. Utah State has not been a good away favorite. They're only 4-5, but Colorado State's 0-2 as a home dog. You're looking at letdown, but, this Colorado State team, you look at their last four games, how do you know what kind of form they're in when they played San Jose State, Wyoming, New Mexico, and then their Boise game? They had one good win.
That was a great
winning
win
Boise on the win. But to me, it's just... I think the number's right. It's a game I'll just watch. And
the thing is that Craig Smith has done a phenomenal job with Utah State this year, and I don't know if they will have the letdown. They're supposed to.